Today's guest conversation is with the head coach of the St. John's University Johnnies out of the great state of Minnesota, Mr. Scott Leeser. Here's episode 85 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Coach Leeser, how are you today, my friend?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah. I'm super pumped to talk to you. And you know what? Let's start on a friendly note. Well, it's all going to be friendly, but let's start on a friendly note, and let's give a shout out to Ryan Eddie Net. Let's give a shout out to Ryan Net. We have a mutual friend, a guy that I played with in college for a little while. Absolute man. I want to say this and get it on the record, so Netter, you can hear me saying this. I'm sure I've said it to you via text, but he's one of the best teammates I've ever had. He is a model of what you want out of a teammate, a coach. This guy, Ryan Net, is a special human being. He's got a special family, and I want to say thank you to Ryan for connecting us a while back. So, Scott, what say you as it relates to Ryan Net?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you nailed it on the head. He's I've had a lot of teammates over the years, and one of those guys that they don't make him much better than Ryan Net. And so I tell you what, I get excited every time his phone, his name pops up on my phone, and I go out and recruit some of his players. And, we always get to talk about the good old days when we played some amateur ball together. But it's always fun talking to Ryan and learning, just talking about the game and learning what's new in his life. And I just feel like he's one of those guys that you could talk to every day, and it always gets better. So.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, hey, as we start this, St. John's University, brother, sister school of the College of Saint Ben's. I'm so interested in that dynamic. So you guys are an NCAA Division III school up in Minnesota, beautiful part of the country, beautiful campus, amazing reputation, academic reputation. What a cool spot to be in. And I'll say this, man, your history at St. Cloud State, where you've kind of grown up, this has got to kind of be like one of those jobs where you kind of got to pinch yourself and say, whoa, what the heck happened here?
Yeah. You pretty much nailed it on the head there. So I mean, it's a long story that I don't want to bore everybody with, because some people probably don't actually care how I got here. But I tell you what, this is an absolute dream come true to be the head coach here at St. John's University. And so, Ross, I tell you what, there was one point this fall we were practicing. It was middle of September, beautiful. Leaves were turning. Because we're kind of out in a rural area here. We had the lights on. We were scrimmaging, and we had the music playing between innings. And I just kind of took a step back, and I was like, holy cow. Like I might be the luckiest person in the world to be the head coach at St. John's University. There's only the head coach before me, Jerry Hogan, was here for 48 years. And And so I usually tell people that, I really only have 47 and a half years left, and so it's one of those things where I'm super, super fortunate, super honored. Central Minnesota it's where my heart lies. I'm a Central Minnesota guy through and through. I grew up about an hour northwest of here in a small rural community as well, on a dairy farm. And so, just kind of being back in this area. And, my parents have since moved, and they're about 25 minutes from campus. And so, I'm just super fortunate to be able to be here at St. John's.
You know what? I want to encourage everybody listening to this episode of the Baseball Forward podcast with head coach Scott Leeser. I want to say this, because I looked through many times just the photos in the gallery, the photo gallery. Go to the gojohnnies.com. Go to their athletic site, go to the baseball site, and look through what he's describing, the baseball field, because I thought the same thing. Like, hey, there have been a couple of fields that I looked at that I've seen over the years that I'm like, whoa. In like Appalachian State stands out with all the leaves, and BYU with the mountain. And I was looking through your gallery, and it kind of gave me that same effect. Like, dang, this is a beautiful stadium. The setting, the trees, the color. I'm like, this to me would be amazing. So I encourage anybody listening to it, go check them out, because man, he's not lying when he says the facilities and just the setting is beautiful. let's get into the dynamic of how this works with the College of Saint Ben's in St. John's. St. John's, the Johnnies. I love that name. I just want to say Johnnie every time. So College of Saint Ben's? Are they the Bennies?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yep.
So I want to understand this. So the dynamic between St. John's and St. Ben's. Okay, like break that down for us. All guys, all girls. How does that all work?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, right. That a lot of people look at it and an all boys school out in the middle of the forest, right? And so it can be a turnoff to some people, right away. But and I actually, going through high school, I didn't even look at St. John's because I just didn't know enough about St. John's. And I always joke with people like, I probably wasn't smart enough to get in, right? The people that laugh actually have a sense of humor, but some people don't laugh, so I probably shouldn't use that joke. But no, it's probably more complicated when you look at it on paper compared to just living it, right? So yeah, St. Ben's has got it's an all-female school over there. We're an all-male school here. All of our classes are integrated together. We graduate on the same day. Our convocation when they get here is the same day. Pretty much everything what we tell recruits when they're coming through, right, is there's really two things that are different. Okay. One is our athletics. We're called the Johnnies. They're the Bennies, right?
Okay.
And we have all of our competition, all of our practice, everything that we do is over here at St. John's. Well, everything that St. Ben's does is over at St. Ben's. And so massive advantage when it comes to, we got a dome on campus, right? That we just put up in middle of October. When we don't have to share time in our dome with the softball team because softball has their own facilities over at St. Ben's, right? Nice. And so that's a massive advantage for us. When the football team practices, the football team has anywhere from 180 to 200 guys. They use the dome, and they also use the full football field, and so they don't have to share with a soccer team or something like that, right? Wow, and so the athletic side of things is pretty cut and dry, right? It's pretty, we're Johnnies, they're Bennies, but it's really a cool deal because like tonight, our baseball team, the St. Ben's volleyball team is hosting a playoff game in the MIAC, and so our baseball team, we're actually going over and supporting the women over there, and we're going to go to the volleyball game tonight. And so it's really pretty easy on that side of things, right? And then the second thing is just where they have their rooms, right? So like their dorm rooms or their apartments on campus. Like obviously the Johnnies sleep over here, the Bennies sleep over there, but there's a bus that you joke. Yeah, we can go on with that. There's a bus, we call it the Link. It goes back and forth between both campuses every 15 minutes. And so, that is so cool. It kind of just depends on what major you have, on where you're going to spend a lot of your classes. For example, if you're, let's say you're a nursing major, a lot of your classes are going to be over at St. Ben's. All of your nursing classes are going to be over at St. Ben's. If you're like accounting or finance, a lot of them are going to be over here at St. John's. And so any given day, any given day that you walk through campus, you're going to see, just as many females as you are males. And so the cool thing is it's almost like having two campuses for the price of one, right?
Yeah.
So we're definitely secluded. We're in this rural area. I mean, we're 20 minutes from St. Cloud. So it's really like if you need to go shopping or restaurants and stuff, St. Cloud's right there, right? So it's not a big deal. But we're kind of out in the middle of the forest here. And so we kind of have that rural campus. And then St. Ben's is right in the middle of St. Joe, which is a vibrant town. It's probably where a lot of the nightlife happens, but it's a vibrant town there. And so you kind of get more of that maybe traditional campus at St. Ben's. So you kind of get both of those, which is really cool. And then as far as our dining services, there are actually two different companies that we go through. St. Ben's goes through their own company. We use our own company here at St. John's. And so if all of a sudden you're getting sick of the cafeteria food at St. John's, no problem. Jump on the bus, go to St. Ben's, and you can eat something different.
Love it.
And so, it's one of those things that seriously, it probably looks more confusing on like if you don't know about it, Ross, and it's really, if you ask our guys, it's not a big deal at all. Like they don't. If somebody goes to the University of Minnesota, they probably have a longer bus trip, like their link or whatever, like from one building to the next just to get across campus. So,
interesting. That's an interesting way to put it, because let me say this, it's not confusing. You did a fantastic job of explaining that and making it make sense to a guy like me who got a 22 on my ACT. So I guess I don't think that I would have got into St. John's. So that makes perfect sense. And you know what, man, you said something that about the traditional setting, and this is what I want to get across to people, because I know that area up there pretty well. It's such, when you think like movies and college setting and the buildings and the atmosphere and the environment, that's what I think of when I think of your school. Is that accurate?
You got it. I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the head. We are so, you drive in and you drive into campus, and especially in the fall, right? When the leaves are turning, you got the Abbey Church that's up on top of the hill.
Yes.
It's like a movie setting here. It honestly fills my cup every single day when I get to drive into campus. We're super fortunate. And I think, we talk about, to our recruits and people that don't know, we talk about the St. John's and St. Ben's connection and how alumni love to hire Johnnies and Bennies and that network, and how it's second to nobody's. And we talk about that a lot, Russ, but it's Ross, sorry. It's more than that. People love coming back to St. John's, and I mean, there's a reason why our football games, we get so many fans at our football games. I mean, for family weekend, we had about 10,000 fans back for a Division III football game.
Dang.
And it's amazing. We have a tailgate that goes on before the football game. And there's that day, I don't know how many were down there just because it was packed, and it's right by the baseball field, which is awesome. But it had to be 35 to 4,000. Like, there's so many people that are there, and they're not all football alums. I mean, a lot are, don't get me wrong, but people, they're just Johnnie alums and Johnnie friends. And they look forward to Saturdays just because it's a way for them to connect. And I've been down to our tailgates, and I tell everybody it's the greatest job fair that you'll ever go to.
Wow. I like that.
I've seen people get job interviews. Internships. I've seen people get jobs. It's crazy. I mean, I always look back. I graduated from St. Cloud State, and I always heard about the Johnnie Network, and I'll be honest, I thought it was a bunch of BS.
Yeah, like whatever.
I did. I was like, oh, man, you guys are just high on your horse. Like, get over yourself. Like, seriously, I did. And I even talked about this during the interview, right? And I was like, ooh, I might upset some people saying this, but it's real. But I thought they were, and I'm telling you, I've seen it though. It's unbelievable. And I used to say like, oh, anybody's got the network and alums and this, that. It's nothing like St. John's and St. Ben's. It's amazing. I'll never forget. It was my first year here in the fall of 2018 and then the spring of 19. Right, that was my first year here, and there was a senior dinner that spring. And there was 2 alums, myself, and 4 seniors that were graduating, right? And the 2 alums were asking the seniors, hey, what's your plans? What's next, right? What'd you major in? All that kind of stuff, right? Just kind of small talk. And the first 3 went, and they're telling, majored in this, got a job lined up in this, they're set, they're good to go. The 4th one goes, yeah, he majored in, I forget what he even majored in, but then he had a couple of interviews and nothing landed, right? And I kid you not, one of the alums freaking stood up, grabbed his wallet, grabbed a business card, handed the kid a business card and said, hey, give me a call on Monday. Dang. I think I got something for you.
Wow.
And from that moment, I was bought in. I was like, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm all in. This is, and I need to see it firsthand, right? Because I didn't live this. I didn't graduate from St. John's. And so I needed to see it firsthand. And right there, my mindset was like, no, this is the greatest place for young men to have a great experience during college and then a great experience after. And you're always going to have a group of alums that are going to look out for you.
Wow.
And it's undescribable. It's awesome. It really is.
I'll tell you what, man. I like talking with Scott Leeser here on the Baseball Forward podcast, episode 84, out of St. John's University. I feel like I'm being called to tell you something right now, and it's like I remember having a conversation with one of my mentors way back in the day, and I asked him. I said, he told me through just casual conversation, one of the biggest regrets he has, or mistakes that he had, was leaving the smaller, in air quotes, the smaller school in the setting, because it checked all the boxes, thinking that there was something greener, thinking there was something better. And what you're describing, Scott, Coach Lees, what you're describing, I hope you realize, I don't know it's going to be greener anywhere else. Like, do you, because boy, you're coaching baseball, and let's get into that, but you're coaching baseball, you're in an amazing family atmosphere where you can raise your kids, and it's kind of like, what more do you want? The baseball side of it is what I want to get into. Is I want to say, man, you got a heck of a resume. Wow. Like, Brewers organization, man, you had a heck of a career at St. Cloud State. I remember many battles against St. Cloud State, but man, like, from a baseball perspective, I look at your position and I look at St. John's, and I'm like, boy, this is interesting for me. And the guys that maybe don't know about your program, but like, I know that success starts at the top, the leadership. And I'm guessing since you're hired, there's probably someone above you that's actually kind of smart, and probably someone above them that's actually kind of smart. So I'm like, okay, so St. John's is going to be one of those schools that I'm like, hey, we're going to be a pretty good program. What's the draw from a baseball perspective to maybe the recruits or the guys out there listening to this today?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And I just got to say, I think it's the whole package. Like, and honestly, it's when guys are, 16, 17, 18-year-olds are looking at where they want to go to college, right? We get it. Guys want to go Division I.
Yeah,
I get that, right? I 100% understand why somebody want to go Division I, because they want to be the best that they can get to. That's awesome. Yep. Unfortunately, there's only so many spots at Division I to play, right? And so you got to really look at, like, what is the best fit for you and your family, right? And so we think that we offer the complete package of, yes, a great baseball experience that you're going to have, that you're going to remember for the rest of your life, the relationships that you build. It's going to be awesome, right? You're going to have coaches that care deeply about you, not just about between the lines, but outside the lines as well. We also think you're going to have a great college experience where you're going to have relationships with not just baseball players. You're going to have relationships with your professors. You're going to have relationships with the monks that are on campus. You're going to have relationships with other students that are on campus, right? And other coaches as well. And so we think that we can marry those two experiences and give the best experience possible. And so my sort of tagline, right, when I'm recruiting is I don't promise anybody playing time, right? I can't promise you playing time, but what I can promise is I will give everything I have to make sure that you have a great college experience. Because let's be honest, right? Like, at the end of the day, not every single guy is going to play every single pitch, right?
Correct.
I joke with our pitchers that at the end of the year, I always tell them, guys, at the end of the year, each one of you is going to wish that you pitched more. Each one of you. From the guy that pitched the most innings to the guy that pitched the least innings, you're going to wish you pitched more. I still get mad at my amateur ball manager. I still think I should be pitching more during the summer. And so
you should be, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell him, give you a call, right, Ross? But it's like, but seriously, there is, right? And so our roster is typically that low 50s mark. And so we get 40 varsity games, and then we get up to 25 varsity reserve games, and we schedule as many as we can. And so obviously Minnesota weather doesn't always allow us to get every single varsity reserve game in. But we do our darndest to get as many as we can. Usually we're right around that 20 mark for varsity reserve games, which is which is huge. It gives our guys an awesome opportunity to showcase their skills, right?
Yes.
And so if you're going to have 50 guys on a roster, yeah, all 50 are not going to play on the varsity squad. And so that's just the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the that's the beauty of being the coach, but also it comes with some decision makings as well. So we think that with our facilities and the support that we have here, everything included in the classroom and on the field, we just think we just offer the full package. We really do. We're very proud of what we have here. We understand that there are other places that are awesome places to go, which is great, right? At the end of the day, I want Johnnies that want to be here, though.
Yeah, let's go.
I do not want to convince. I talk a lot and I can talk fast, right? And so some people probably think I'm a salesman, but I'd rather somebody want to be here than me convince them to be here.
Why?
Because it just won't. It just at the end it won't work out if they don't truly want to be here, and I convinced them to be here. At some point, there's going to be a spot where I'm going to have to bench them or have a tough conversation or whatever it is, and they're just not going to be all in. And so we've seen it in our guys, the guys that are all in on everything, right? They're all in on going to class. They're all in on getting in the weight room. They're all in on practice. If they're all in, they will grow in every aspect of their life, not just baseball, but they'll grow in everything. And a lot of that comes with growing in confidence. I mean, really confidence in the classroom, confidence on the baseball field, which in return will help you in life, right? Like at the end of the day, I just think college coaches, I don't want to get too life lessony here, right? But our job is to help these young men grow, right?
Yes.
And so I don't think, I mean, I look back when I get together with my college buddies, we don't talk about who threw the most innings, who had the most home runs. I mean, granted, that was a long time ago already, but like you just, at the end of the day, you don't really, it's not that you don't care. It's just, that's not what you talk about. You talk about all the other things that went into your college experience and the relationships that you built, man. I love this stage of life. It keeps me young too, right? Like a little 6'7" going on, right? I got to add that in there. There you go. See, I was going to say, otherwise I wouldn't know what the heck they're talking about. And so I love this stage of life. And I feel like I learned something every single day from our guys, and they're just the best too.
Dude, let me ask you this. Because I can't gloss over it. I have to have you hammer this point home, Coach Leeser. You said all in, and man, I envision what that looks like from how many guys in this program can we get to buy in, and what comes to my mind is you can't win at the highest level without guys that are half in and half out and always thinking of something more. So tell me, like when you say all in, that guy, that's going on, and what are you looking for? If I'm a student athlete, what's going to make me happy when I look back on this career, the student athletic career, the student athlete career? What is going to make me happy, and what do I have to be all in, bought in on? What are all the things that I have to be all in on to have the most success?
Yeah, I mean, it honestly starts with wanting to be all in at St. John's, right? Because it is. We talked about earlier in the show. It's a different, it's a unique model with St. Ben's and St. John's, and so that's first and foremost. It's also a private school, right? And so there's a cost that's associated with that, and so you and your family have to be all in for paying that tuition, right?
Yep.
And I kind of joke, but that's kind of the start of it. And then it's from there, it's buying into what the coaches are talking about. And so, we have, with me taking over, we've changed up some things, right? That's the beauty of being the internal candidate, is I know what was working. And then I saw some things that maybe we could tune up a little bit. That's no disrespect to Coach Hogan. I'm super appreciative of him letting me be on his staff and everything like that. But just a little bit, maybe a little bit different energy type of thing, right? And just some different philosophies on stuff. And so, but being bought in on that. And part of being bought in is not just being a yes man every time, right? And so I love when our guys are asking questions about, hey coach, if this happens, then what if we do this? Or when that happens, what do you want us to do here? Or I love that stuff. I want our guys to also be okay with maybe struggling at something or learning, or we don't have to perfect something right away, because we're trying some different things this fall, high energy and just different things. I don't want to give too much away to our competition, right? But we're trying some different things that we struggled with right away, just flat out. Like we struggled, and we're like, okay, no problem. We got to be okay with struggling, right? And so, but it was awesome when you finally saw all of a sudden one of the guys was doing some stuff and some stealing bases and stuff. We were doing it, and they finally caught on. And it was just like, I went crazy. I was just let's freaking go. This is what I'm talking about, fellas. This is it. And it's that energy, right? It's that positive reinforcement. So you talk about being all in, and that's what it is. And then you can see the twinkle. I'm getting freaking excited right now, but you can see the twinkle in their eyes, and you can see the excitement of, hey, this is a place where we can do some awesome things on the field. And I really do. I think sky's the limit here. When I applied for this job, I just said, I do. I think it's probably a cliche line. I'm a big PJ Fleck fan from the football team, but I do. I think we're a sleeping giant here, and I just think that going forward, we got something so special to offer these young men and their families that, man, I just think if they're all in it, it is sky's the limit, man.
Talking with Coach Scott Leeser, St. John's University out of Minnesota on the Baseball Forward podcast today, episode 84. 84, that makes me think of Randy Moss for the Minnesota Vikings. I remember when he fake mooned the Green Bay. That was an absolute gem. That guy's a legend. Straight cash, homie. Yeah. Hey, I love talking with coaches that man, I can tell baseball is like it's in your DNA, it's in your core, and like the energy that it gives you. I can feel what you're probably like out on the field. So when I say baseball identity, you said you didn't want to give it away, and I'm going to poke and I'm going to prod a little bit, but like there's going to be, you're just getting into this. You're going into year one after taking over for a guy that was there for 48 years. That in and of itself is a conversation, but you got to put your stamp on this program, and there's got to be an identity. And we all know, like when I think of identity, I remember, Coach Sullivan at Sac City says high socks, hat down low, flat brim. I'm thinking identity, like, man, are they first to third? Are they a small ball team? What's the stamp that you're putting on St. John's? And it doesn't have to be what you changed. I don't want to get you. I want there to be some sneak attacks in the spring, but like, what matters to you out on the field that your guys are doing always?
Yeah. I think my stamp is high energy and playing with every single pitch as being high competitive, right? And so it probably sounds a little cliche-ish, right? But I do think that I'm just flat out, I'm just a little bit younger, right? And so at 35 years old, I have the energy, I have the passion, I have that tenacity that I want our guys to feed off of, right? And I do think that I think positive energy is freaking contagious, man. I do. I just think when I'm talking to somebody that's excited about something, they're passionate about something, it just comes off as like, holy cow, let's go. Let's get after it. And so I'm definitely a glass half full guy. I just don't like looking at negative stuff. I actually don't like I'd rather, I don't even like calling things negative. It's more of like a challenge, right? And so we're going to see that, and teams will see us playing harder. They're going to see us playing with more energy. And the biggest thing right now is, and I credit our guys. Okay, we started a strength conditioning program. Our full-time strength conditioning, Justin Ross, was one of my first calls when I got this job, right? And I just said, Justin, you got to be with me. Okay. And Justin's like, absolutely, let's go. And so we kind of just had a laissez-faire lifting program as kind of on your own before.
Sure. Yep.
Well, now we got a strength conditioning program where the guys are with Justin 4 days a week. Right.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that's a big deal. And so I've seen the physical changes from our guys already from the first day of school till right now. I've seen the physical changes. That's massive. We already crushed the baseball. We were pretty good at, like, our slugging numbers are pretty good. In the past, we could hit the ball long ways. I think that's probably one thing we did a little too much of, was probably rely on the 3-run home run at times. And so we're going to be a little bit more creative on that side, but we crushed baseballs. I think we're going to even crush more. I think the guys that were just getting singles are now going to hit doubles, right? And the guys that are hitting doubles off the wall, they're going to be gone. And so our getting in the weight room has been a massive, massive change in our guys. You know, I got them. We have the Johnnie Rat is sort of our mascot, right? And so
Johnnie Rat.
Yeah, it's like at football games they're called the Rat Pack, right? And so it's not like an official mascot, but it kind of is. It's kind of like this long story. Anyway, so what I did was I was like, shoot, if we're gonna get in the weight room and get after it, I got him some baby blue T-shirts with a rat that's on steroids, and he's got a baseball bat, and it's awesome, right? Like, it's not our traditional rat, right? But he's like jacked out of his mind.
I want one of those shirts, please.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was gonna say I got to send you one now, right?
Yep, you do.
But it's cool, right? Like, and at the end of the day, I was like, if I got to spend a couple bucks to get some T-shirts, it's not like, hey, do this and I'll give you a T-shirt. Like, it's nothing like that, right? But I was like, hey, I want to make sure our guys know that this is important to me, and I'm going to spend budgeted money for this. And actually ended up getting a donation to make these things happen, which is really cool. But
That's awesome.
I planned on spending the money anyway. But it's just awesome to see the guys buy into being there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you start thinking about it. There's seniors on the team that they've been doing things the same way for 3 years now.
Wow.
And all of a sudden it's the same. Scott Leeser went from assistant to head coach. So some things are the same, but there's things that are different, right?
Yeah.
And so for the seniors, I give them credit. For our 9 seniors, they, right from day one, they're like, yep, we're all in.
That's awesome.
And we're going forward. And so it's not major things that I'm changing, but it's the little things, and the little things they add up after time.
They sure do.
I just think the senior leadership it's been awesome. And if they don't buy in, I think you're a little bit, it's tough, right? It's tough.
And that's so, like, dude, I hope that's so critical. That's such a good point, because the transition from coach to coach, and it does not matter internal hire or not, that transition affects and it impacts those young lives. And to get that buy-in, boy, that tells me how super consistent and intentional you need to be just with your daily habits and your daily work with your guys. I want to touch on at the NCAA Division III level. Like, I get it. At this point in the world that we live in 2025, there are studs everywhere at every level. And if you don't think that, if you're listening to this episode and you don't get it, man, I can't convince you. But the NCAA Division III level, and how, if maybe you guys are affected, because you hear the landscape of college baseball right now is crazy. You see older guys we talk about, you hear about the transfer portal nonstop. You hear about just it's a culture of pivot and shift and adjust and move on. And in my head, man, that doesn't sound fun. And I wonder if at a school like at St. John's, if you guys are affected with that kind of the current dynamic of baseball, like the transfers, you guys call you, or, hey, I'm transferring from this school to that school. And the second piece would be, like, I would think that it would be a competitive advantage for you in the recruiting process to say to a kid who's maybe an in-between type guy that says, hey, this will be your home, and we're going to make you the best physical, emotional, mental version of yourself and give you the best opportunity. You know, if you're meant to go play pro ball, you will. So talk me through those items, the current dynamic, if you guys are affected by it, and kind of the competitive advantage maybe in recruiting at this stage.
Yeah, that perfect. I mean, and it's funny because we could have probably done this podcast a year ago, right? And my answer probably would have been different than it is today.
Interesting.
It just is. And so, I get it with the, when families are looking at schools. Okay, we just had this the other day. I had a family that was asking about current rosters, and it was a certain position that they were wondering about, like, and you could tell they were trying to fit in, like, hey, where does my son fit in? Right.
Yep.
And I totally understand why they're asking. Well, it's really tough when they're only like a junior in high school right now. It's really tough to know what our roster is going to look like in 2 years. I have a good sense of what it's going to look like, right? I think every coach kind of projects out, but you just never quite know. What we're super fortunate here at St. John's is when guys come here, and this is the message that we give them about it being the right fit for them, both baseball and academically, is when they come to St. John's, we offer, we think, such a good product. The guys don't leave. Guys don't leave. We're not affected in the transfer portal when guys leave. Awesome. We're just not. But I think that's what we're doing as an institution, and we're giving them a great experience while they're here. Okay. Are there things that aren't perfect? Absolutely. There's things that we can continue to work on for sure. But we're super fortunate that they get here, they stay. And that's an awesome feeling. Right.
Yes.
And then as far as transfer portal, on the opposite side, like bringing guys in, we don't, I mean, again, in a year it could change. I don't know, but we don't bring a ton of transfers in. Do we get a couple transfers? Seems like every year we get a guy or two. We had two that joined us over this last summer, a shortstop and a catcher, which was awesome to add. Both of those guys we recruited out of high school. I mean, I think of the catcher. It was between us and where he ended up going, right? And so went to the other place and then just saw, like, hey, finally saw the light, right?
Yeah, I made the wrong decision.
No, like that. But it is that's the guys that we do get in the transfer portal. We recruited them really heavily out of high school, and so it was probably between us and wherever they went. And so that's really where we're fortunate. We don't sit in the transfer portal a lot. Do we check it? Yeah. I mean, we check it. I got my recruiting coordinator and assistant coach who's been here for 24 years, Jason Spohn. He handles a lot of the logistics of the recruiting, right? Obviously we both handle the recruiting piece, but he handles a lot of the logistics piece. And so he checks the portal, every Monday or whatever it is, just to see if there's somebody that we recruited out of high school and just to check it out. But I don't want him living in there either. Right. Like, at the end of the day, our guys chose St. John's for a reason. And I'd rather go to battle with a guy that chose, that wants to be here, and we didn't convince him to be here, rather than going to the portal and talking to somebody from wherever, you name a state. And it's like, we're selling him to be here just because I think he can throw 87 to 90 miles an hour from the left side. Now I got to convince him to be here, but he's never heard of St. John's in his life. And it's like, wow. Yeah, he'd be fine. I mean, he'd be good. Don't get me wrong. Yep. Right? I'll take a 95 mile an hour lefty any day of the week that throws strikes. But part of it is they got to fit with the culture too, and then they got to fit with what we got going on here.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, a few more questions here. Talking with Scott Leeser today from St. John's University on the Baseball Forward podcast. Okay, Baseball Forward. Our mission, our motto: elevating the next generation. So I'm big on getting advice from guys that are in the fire right now. You're in the fire. You are the source of, if I asked you and I said, let's talk to parents, because I'm curious about your perspective for parents. There's a lot of guys that are going through the recruiting process, or that are wanting to play college baseball, that maybe they have a bad taste in their mouth with just the current dynamic of college of college baseball and college athletics in general. So if you were talking to parents and you were in an auditorium of 1,000 parents and they're all young whippersnappers. They got freshmen and sophomores coming up, and you were giving advice to parents about navigating finding a school for Johnnie. What would your advice be to the parents out there trying to help their kids?
Yeah, I think the first thing is if I was going through it as a parent, and I just have a 1-year-old, so I got 16, 17 years before that, I would really, I would create, and I know a lot of the advisors probably have this, but I would create some sort of what are you looking for in a college, right? Like, what are you actually looking for in your college experience? And I would have a list of questions that I would have the 16, 17-year-old fill out of, size, location, division, in-state, out-state, private school, public school, whatever it is, right? Like, I would have a list of questions for the high school student to fill out, and then mom and dad should be filling out those same questions on the other side, but not doing it together, right? So then when you come together, all of a sudden, if I'll play on words, if my son, little Johnnie, and I don't have a son named little Johnnie, but I should.
Someday.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got a daughter. So, but if I got a son named little Johnnie, and if I'm sitting with him, right, then that kind of opens up the conversation and opens up the dialogue of, hey, why do you think you're looking for a big school? Why? Like, what kind of experience is that? I'm guessing a lot of times the 16, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, they don't necessarily know. And it's not their fault. They just don't know until they don't know because they just don't know any better, right? But some of it is back on the parents too. Parents probably don't know everything either. The kids are probably on social media. They're seeing the tailgates at the Johnnie football games, right? They're seeing the basketball team being nationally ranked. They're seeing all this stuff. And so parents, so then I just think you're going to have different answers. Then it becomes dialogue. Sometimes there's just a disconnect between, what the 17, 18-year-old's looking for compared to what the parents are. And so, a lot of times when we have recruits on campus, okay, this has been awesome for us, by the way. And so hopefully other coaches, you go ahead, they can steal it too. But when they go to lunch with their recruits, okay, we'll bring them in, give them a tour, right? We'll sit down with the admissions rep. We'll go to lunch with them. If we have our current players in our cafeteria, right, a lot of times they're in there, we'll actually have the recruit sit with the current players away from the coaching staff and the parents.
Love it.
Okay. Because the biggest thing is some young men will open up and ask questions when parents are around, but a lot of them won't, right? And it's not their fault. They don't really, maybe they just don't feel comfortable asking a question from mom and dad to a coach or a player. And so we kind of separate them and we tell the parents, hey, we'll get to the baseball facilities. We'll get to that piece is going to be awesome. We'll get to baseball. What are you looking for in your son's experience for college? And we'll ask them, we get to know them on a personal level, what they do for careers, what they're involved in. I want to get to know the parents because our parents are super involved here. They're super involved with our St. John's baseball program. And in between double headers, we have this potluck, and it's I'm telling you, it's not just like this ordinary potluck. There's so much freaking food, and all the parents get together, and it's awesome. It is so fun. We do little events, and our parents get super, super into it, right? And I hope to just grow that even more. And so I want to get to know our parents. What experience are they looking for their son? And so that's a big deal. So I do think there's times where and especially, I can't speak to the Division I level. I've never played there. I've never coached there. So I don't know the Division I level as well. But I think at the Division III level, if I were to sit in an auditorium and talk to parents, I would say, hey, you need to have a conversation with just the coach when your son's not present. Because I think that's a big deal. Because and sometimes it's, because we talk to the sons a lot, texting, calling. Sure. We're constantly communicating. Good point. Constantly, right? And so then it's like, okay, if it's my son, I'd be like, hey, what are you guys talking about? Like, how do you see my son being part of this program? How do you see, what advice can you give us as parents? What should we be looking for? What questions should we ask? And so Yeah, I think just being super transparent. That's what I would tell parents. Have a conversation with the coach.
That's beautiful because, hey, Scott or Coach Leeser, I'm going to say this, and I could not agree more. Is for some reason you hear like when these kids start going off and making their decision. Well, I'm just going to let Ben. I'm going to let him make his own decision, and he's running the show. You're his parent. You know him better than anyone else. And I've never heard that idea of almost having like a separate them, have them fill it out, and then talk about it, because I think you hit the nail on the head. Most 16, 17, 18-year-old kids have never even, they haven't thought for 30 seconds on what life looks like past today. Right. And you got to start getting those opinions out of them. Okay. So let's transition to players just in general. Doesn't have to be recruiting or anything, but you played baseball. You were a good player. You played in college. You played professionally. You've been to the mountaintop. So when I say elevating the next generation of ball players coming up, what advice do you have for the guys coming up to maximize their experience as a baseball player?
Yeah, I still think at the end of the day, it's surrounding yourself with people that are people that you understand, that will have the same vision and the same goals that you do, right? And that way you can push each other, you can challenge each other, but most importantly, you can support each other. And so you got to surround yourself with good people. I'm a massive believer in the relationships that we build will only enhance whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're doing underwater basket weaving, right? If you surround yourself with people that are passionate about underwater basket weaving, you're only going to enhance your experience there. I mean, seriously, at the end of the day, we're the average of the 5 people we hang around with most, right?
Yes.
So I just think you have to surround yourself with people with the same vision and with the same passion. And so I'll even tell recruits that, like, hey, I might not be for everybody, which is fine. Like, if you don't like playing for me, no problem, right? But you have to get along with your coach, and the respect level, right? I got to get along with the player too. And so I think at the end of the day, you talk about growing the game, understanding that the secret sauce is the relationships that you have, right? And so, you got to work hard, all that stuff, right? You got to put in the time. You can't be skipping class. You can't be sitting in your dorm rooms eating potato chips and expecting just to be the guy, right? Like, come on, let's be like all those little cliche lines, like all that stuff. There's a lot of work that goes into being a successful baseball player. You can't just roll out of bed and do it. So that's the other piece is we look at like our catchers right now. I was talking to a parent the other day. We have 4 catchers, and then we have 2 guys that are pitchers / catchers. So technically,
oh wow,
I got 6 catchers on the staff, right? Two of them probably aren't going to catch a lot because I'm going to need them to pitch quite a bit. But one of the moms was, she's like, no way. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, any given year, I got anywhere from 20 to 25 pitchers. Somebody has to catch those bullpens,
Absolutely.
And so kind of told, like, if you don't like competition, St. John's probably isn't the place for you.
Yeah.
However, you should know that every college in the country has multiple catchers, right? Like, and it's one of those things, like, and I use catchers as an example, but it's same with pitchers. It's same with outfielders, shortstops, you name it, the position. You got to compete in everything you do in life. And so I just think that you talk about growing the game, competing and surround yourself with good people. That's going to be the key, man. You said a heck of a career at college. I laugh, and I don't say this to try to be super modest. I honestly didn't have like a great career in college. I had really good teammates. I laugh because I'd throw and I as soon as the ball was put in play, like I was that guy that would just start walking off the mound. And looking back, it's probably not the right thing to do, right? Like a ball would go in the air, and our center fielder now is actually my hitting coach for St. John's. And so if the ball would go in the air, just catch the damn ball, right? Like I'd expect him to catch it, and I'd start walking off. Like I was like, people are like, oh, you had a really good career. I'm like, no, I actually wasn't that great. I could do one thing really well, and that was put a fastball low and inside. And so that's pretty much what I did. And so I don't, I think growing the game is also knowing what you're really good at
Amen.
And
Wow.
being self-aware of, hey, this is one thing that I'm really good at, so I'm going to hammer that home. That's what I'm going to do. And so I don't know. I think sometimes we watch the Paul Skeens of the world, and yeah, it's freaking fun to watch Paul Skeens, right? When he's one of the best, right? It's awesome watching him. Well, we're not all Paul Skeens, right? Like Scott Leeser is not even close to what Paul is. And so, but at the end of the day, there was one thing I was good at. And so I just kept doing that one thing. And and that's where we just got to understand, like, growing the game, we don't need to be perfect in every aspect of it. We just need to be whatever we're good at. We just need to hammer home with that. And as coaches, I think that's sometimes what we forget about. Like, we got to remember, we got to find out what each guy is good at and put them in situations where they're going to succeed. So,
dude, I love hearing that, because you look back, it makes sense to me why you're a head baseball coach. In 35, I mean, you got a long career in front of you, but it makes sense. The fundamentals, that what's in your DNA, what you just explained, boy, that is really good. And that's maturity. That's maturity. That tells me that's maturity, that eyeballs that have seen the game for a long time and seen it at a high level. So if you're listening out there, everybody flood St. John's and go to St. John's, and hey, if you're listening, go to St. Ben's too. That's a great school. I want to finish on this. Head coach Scott Leeser of St. John's University. Music. I love music. I'm hoping you do too. So I need you to give me, what were you like? What were you trotting out to on the mounds? I know you played in the Northwoods and you played at St. Cloud. I know they got those facilities over there. So what music was playing when you were running out to the mound ready to shove?
Yeah, that's great, man. The guys, I don't know if I really had like a walkout song necessarily. Probably Rockstar by Nickelback was one that was like going for a while. I don't even know why, because if anybody knows me, they just know, like, Rockstar. Yeah, that's just not me. I'm kind of, hair and stuff. I'm just not like a rock star guy, right? I'm probably not the life of the party, right? Like, I'm probably not the guy that you're calling first to be like, hey, let's go out and have a great time.
No way.
I'm kind of a boring guy, man. I just love the game. And so, no, Rockstar for a little while was my walkout in college, but man, the boys know anything by Luke Combs. I'm a country boy. I grew up on a dairy farm, man. So anything by Luke Combs gets me fired up. But also I love we try to have music every day at practice, and so we try to crank it up. And the biggest thing is I tell our guys, all right, I love Luke Combs, but I know not everybody loves Luke Combs. So we got to switch it up every single day, and so I love it. But yeah, the boys know when Luke Combs come on, a little spark goes off in Coach Leeser's eyes. So
let's go. Yeah, let's go. Man. Hey man, what a joy, what a pleasure. And I'm gonna let you take it out, but I just want to let you know, man, I'm thankful for our relationship, and like, I'm so excited for you and to watch this thing go at St. John's, getting your opportunity to be there. And then I'm excited to see what the identity is in the spring, because I'm going to be touching base and being like, what are we doing? What was the secret sauce? Hey, Coach Leeser, take 30 seconds, take us out, and then I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, man. Well, I just I tell you what, a lot of thanks to be given just to be in this position, right? I mentioned Coach Hogan, who was the head coach before. I mentioned Coach Spohn, Jason Spohn. He's assistant for 24 years, my full-time assistant here. I just got great assistants that are here right now. Brian Hansen, Josh Bungham, Jeff Solers as a student assistant coach, Tom Woodward as a volunteer, a class of 70 Johnnie, and then Scott Becker, who was class of 77, also a volunteer. And Scott's the one that he led the search here at St. John's for the head coaching position. He also was the leader to make our field possible and our new clubhouse possible. And so just a lot of thanks. And really, I could go on and on, but the last two that I have to thank is Coach Dolan over at St. Cloud State, Pat Dolan. He took a guy from frickin' Browerville, Minnesota, throwing 81, 82 miles an hour, wow. Just took a chance on me. And I think he gave me all $500 to play for him. Right. And so took a chance on me and really helped me elevate my game there at St. Cloud State. And then the other one, I started my college coaching career down at Augsburg, being a graduate assistant. And so Coach Bateman, Keith Bateman down there, I owe a lot to Bates. He helped me grow as not like X's and O's always. Like, obviously I learned a lot from him, X's and O's, but he taught me that once the guys understand how much you care about them, they'll push harder for you. And so there's nobody in the country that cares about his players more than Keith Bateman. I'm just trying to be second, in that department,
Wow.
but Bates cares about his guys, and that like stuck with me every single. I was like, if I'm going to do one thing, and I want our guys to know how much I care about them, just because Bates cares about his guys so much. So a couple shout outs there, and obviously to you as well. Thanks for having me. This has been awesome. I didn't think that I'd be the head coach at 35. I don't know, man. It's like a surreal moment. I just love it. I passion for St. John's, and I just hope that 47 and a half years later, I can retire here as well. And, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but no, I just absolutely love it. So thanks so much for having me.
You bet, man. We'll bring you back multiple times on this podcast. We'll bring you back when you've completed the 48th year for episode 10,041. Hey, and I do want to say this. Pat Dolan, you're the man at St. Cloud State. I've got a history with him. I'm coming for you, Coach Dolan. Hope everything is well. Hey, Coach Leeser, St. John's University, episode 84 of the Baseball Forward podcast. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, thanks, Ross.
All right.